Welcome back, everyone. My name is Demina Malord. I am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. I am excited to be able to talk to you all today about the topic of how to shut down your inner critic. You may be watching this in the private Facebook group that I have, the Black Support Collective for Black women who experience anxiety and intense emotions. You also might be watching this as a replay, or you might be catching it on my YouTube channel. But either way, I'm so thankful that you're here and watching. So again, today's video is about how to shut down your inner critic. So just to get started, I really wanted to break this topic down because what I've noticed, especially in chatting with a lot of different people, is that there can be a lot of times when we may not do the thing that we want to do, and there can be almost like a blockage or a barrier or something barring us, from really doing or getting to the thing that we want to get to. So I really wanted to chat about that today. So the first tip on how to shut down your inner critic is to give your inner critic a name. So important. This is incredibly important, right? And really foundational because when it comes to our minds, sometimes our minds can play tricks on us, right? If you find that this happens to you or has happened to you, it can actually be somewhat normal in the sense that you're not alone. You may even have noticed that someone in your life, maybe family, a friend, maybe even a coworker or a supervisor, right? You may have noticed that there may be times when they may say or do something and you're kind of like, okay, well, why are they doing that? That's not warranted for this kind of situation, right? That doesn't match up to the situation that's coming up. And if we talk about that when we relate it to the inner critic, is that if you think about times when you may have goals set up for yourself, right, there may be a voice inside of you that may be kind of telling you, you can't do that. You think you can do that. You don't even have the skills to do that, right? And it's very important to remember that when it comes to that inner critic, that is something that is inside of you. It is not you, okay? Very important concept to really consider and to think about. And that is why it is important to give your inner critic a name, all right? Some people may have, whatever name you decide to choose for yourself, right? Even for myself, the inner critic that I experience, I have a name in my mind of that individual, right? And you could go as detailed as you want with it, right? You can say the name of your inner critic, what they look like, what they dress like, right? It's up to you. But the main reason why this is so important and so foundational when it comes to shutting down the inner critic is so that you can be able to instantly start to recognize, oh, that's so and so again, right? That's Katie again, or whatever name you choose, right? That's not, uh, that's just a random name I chose in this moment, right? But super important to recognize, okay, who is this inner critic? And recognizing when they tend to show up so that you can instantly be able to separate the inner critic from who you are as a person, okay? Very important. And the next step is to define exactly what you want to accomplish, okay? So maybe for you, total body health is what you want to accomplish, okay? So it's really important to recognize that because sometimes what can happen is the inner critic, whoever they are, whoever you name them to be, right? That inner critic can really kind of stop you before you even get started, before you even recognize what you want to accomplish. Because really and truly, each of us really likely have goals, dreams, okay, things that we've wanted to cross off of our bucket list. And sometimes that inner critic, whoever they are, may say, are you sure you want to do that? You can't do that. Are you kidding? Look at how you failed that time. So really important to recognize and to really be able to express or to even write down what it is that you want to accomplish. So one way that I wanted to share this with you is that you can actually figure out how to accomplish your goals by doing something called mind mapping. So what is mind mapping? It is basically a different way to allow yourself to express your thoughts, your feelings, and really what it is that you want to work on in the dreams and the goals that you have. So when it comes to mind mapping, and if you're in the private Facebook group, the Black Support Collective, you'll see that I actually have posted examples of what it looks like to mind map. And essentially, if you have a piece of paper, what you're going to do is in the middle of the piece of paper, you're going to draw a circle. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you'll write in that circle. So a little earlier, I used the example of total body health. So maybe it might be important for you to really even break that down, right? So um, what you'll do is on the inside of the circle, you'll write total body health, right? So from that circle, you're going to draw lines outside of the circle, right? And with each of the lines that you draw, you're going to write, okay, what does it mean in a more detailed way to have total body health? Maybe for you, that might mean mental health, right? So then from there, you might want to write therapy, okay? Maybe from there, you might want to write journaling, right? Maybe total body health. And another one of the lines you might want to write, fueling my body with foods that make me feel good, okay? Maybe another line might be uh, expressing myself consistently, right? So just some ideas. But essentially, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to create, you're allowing yourself, your mind to kind of freestyle, if you will. And then what's important to do is as you're mind mapping, is super important, if at all possible, if you can, to allow yourself to do it with curiosity, without judgment, just so that you can really be able to get out the things of your mind, get them on paper. I am a huge advocate of journaling, writing things down. I have tons of journals, right? And that's just me personally. But I find that, and I've found even with people that I have worked with, that when they are able to write down, get things out of their head, that it really helps them to have a different perspective on what it is that they want and what's going on with them, right? So even with that first point, give your inner critic a name. You're getting that person out of your head by really recognizing who that voice is and being able to identify that voice. Now, the next point is to make constant progress, okay? So take a breath, right? It is okay to make constant progress and it is doable. So when you're making constant progress, what can that look like? That can look like you sharing your thoughts with people that you trust, right? So again, this is giving you an opportunity to evaluate the people, places in your life, right? So maybe the people that you trust might be your therapist, maybe a close friend, maybe a family member, right? So very important that, you're able to identify who that person is for you. And if you don't have that person, then I encourage you to try to find at least one person that you can trust, that you can share your thoughts with, especially so you can have that support, right? Because what can happen is that if the only person that you are talking to is yourself, sometimes the inner critic, whoever that person may be, may really start talking to you, right, in your mind and say things like, you want to do that? You want to move where? You want to have how much money by the end of the year? You're not able to do that. Who told you you could do that, right? That is a very inaccurate, unsupportive entity or person, if you will, right? So super important to find someone that you can trust, so you can talk your thoughts out with, okay? Now, the last point that I wanted to talk about today is that it is important to revisit your goals, right? And it's important to revisit your goals each week. You can do this little by little. So, how can you do this, right? What can that look like? So, an example I wanted to give on a smaller scale, right? Because it's important when you have bigger goals to break them down, as I talked about a little earlier with the mind mapping, right? If the overall goal is total body health, it's important to break down what that total body health looks like for you, right? Really customize your life how you need it to be so that you can have more feelings of happiness and joy and peace, because those feelings are attainable. So the example that I have when it comes to revisiting your goals every week could be even something super small, would be to have at least 2 or 3 affirmations, which would be statements that you can have readily available to you to affirm what it is that you want, right? Because essentially what you're doing, right, if you're separating yourself from that from that inner critic, is you're affirming to yourself, this is who I am. I'm not who the inner critic is telling me that I am, but this is actually who I am, okay? So you can have an affirmation ready for yourself, right? So an affirmation that comes to mind for me is I am consistently working on myself. Boom. Super easy. I am consistently working on myself. Now, if you Google affirmations, there are tons of them out there, right? So for you, I want you to think of something that your inner critic is frequently telling you that you can't do, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to just Google blank affirmations, right? So maybe you are finding that you are comparing yourself to other individuals, right? So I want you to really look up self comparison affirmations, right? Just to see what pops up and to see if there are affirmations that can help you be able to really be able to start trusting yourself and to start really supporting yourself versus looking at other people, looking at what they have, wanting that, but that can really make you feel disconnected from yourself. So the whole point of all of this, right, is to stay connected with your true and authentic self. So I want you to remember that this is all a process, okay? Take your time as you allow yourself to get closer to your goals and get closer to who you are as a person, right? The whole point of this is to develop an authentic and a helpful and a supportive relationship with yourself so that you can in turn be able to have those with other people too. Anywho, it was a pleasure to be able to present you all with this information today. I so look forward to you. Feel free to reach out as you need, and I hope that you have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.